Black women like you need to understand your position. A summer afternoon at the Willows Pool, with the temperature at 95 degrees Fahrenheit, Officer Ryan Blake, a Caucasian police officer, looms over Isabel Preston, an African-American nurse and mother. Her offense was playing Disney music while her daughter swam. Blake clamps handcuffs on her wrists and securing them behind her back. "My hands are cuffed. I'll drown, then drown." The police officer hurls the handcuffed woman into a 6-foot-deep pool. She submerges. Water infiltrates her lungs. 42 seconds underwater. Her daughter screams. This handcuffed black mother is drowning. Someone dives in, pulling her to the surface. Blake and Morris drive off. Moments later, an arrest warrant is issued for them. Not days, but minutes. How does this become the swiftest arrest warrant in American history? And what transpires when power retaliates? Comment if you've ever felt targeted by someone in authority. Subscribe if you wish to see them falter. This time they do. Stay until the end. Isabel Preston works night shifts at Riverside Children's Hospital. She's the pediatric nurse who remains late to read bedtime stories, who remembers which children require their stuffed animals during medical procedures. She's been doing this for 11 years. It's more than just a job. On Saturday, July 18th, 2024, Isabel has the afternoon off. Her daughter, Emma, aged 8, has been insistent on going swimming for 3 days. Their apartment is sweltering, 95 degrees outside, so they pack towels and sunscreen and walk to the Willows Pool. The Willows is a community where neighbors are familiar with one another, where someone always collects your mail when you're working double shifts. The pool is centrally located. Blue water, white concrete, with 6 security cameras for insurance purposes. It's 2:30 p.m. Emma leaps into the shallow end, 3 feet deep. Isabel sits by the edge, feet in the water, her phone playing Disney music at half volume, soft enough that it's barely audible over the splashing. 3 other families are present. A grandmother reads under an umbrella, parents observe a toddler, and Caroline Lawson. Caroline Lawson is an assistant district attorney with 8 years of experience prosecuting assault, battery, and sexual violence cases. Today, she's off duty, dressed in a swimsuit, sunglasses, and her phone secured in a waterproof pouch, because prosecutors never truly disconnect. Her daughter is Emma's age, attending the same school. Caroline's mother is Judge Patricia Lawson. Patricia previously resided here before acquiring a house near the courthouse. Caroline continues to bring her daughter to this pool because it's safe, because she knows the cameras are functional. At 2:29 p.m., the 911 call is made, a noise complaint. Now I ensure it remains permanent. Sarah hangs up. She opens the motion to dismiss, 30 pages long. Page 12. A rush to judgment is still a rush, regardless of evidence. Blake was denied the opportunity to explain context, to defend himself before a neutral magistrate. This is not justice. This is political theater. Sarah drafts her response, filing it at 26 pages, a direct key paragraph. The video is 42 seconds long, from 6 cameras. It shows an officer handcuffing a woman for noise, leading her to a pool, pushing her into 6 feet of water. There is no context that renders this lawful. No explanation that justifies attempted murder. Defense argues, rush to judgment. It is not. It is the speed of the obvious. By 9:30 a.m. Sunday, Blake and Morris have not surrendered. The deadline was 9 a.m. They do not appear. At 10:30, Hamilton holds another conference. My clients will surrender when legal challenges are resolved. They are not fleeing. They are exercising their constitutional right to challenge unjust process. Sarah watches from her car. Isabel sits in the passenger seat. They watch on Sarah's phone. They're not turning themselves in, Isabel says quietly. No. What now? Now we make this so conspicuous they cannot conceal it. On March 21st, 2021, Patricia Lawson was an assistant DA, 34 years old, ambitious, principled. A case file lay on her desk. Suspect, Officer Ryan Blake. Victim, Anthony Williams, 19. Charge, excessive force. A traffic stop for a broken taillight at 23 km/h on a rural road. The dash cam recorded everything. Williams pulled over immediately, engine off, hands on the wheel. When Blake requested his license, Williams slowly reached, narrating, "My registration is in the glove compartment. I'm reaching for it now. Blake ordered him out. Williams complied, stepping out, hands visible. Then Blake struck him. No warning. Baton to the ribs. Williams fell. Blake struck him again and again, 3 more times. Williams was not fighting, merely protecting his head. The dash cam captured it all. 41 seconds of clear video, clear audio. Williams crying out, Blake breathing heavily. Williams ended up at Riverside Medical with broken ribs, a concussion, internal bruising, and facial lacerations. The doctor flagged it as assault. Patricia watched that video 12 times. She prepared charges, assault and battery under color of authority. She was ready. Then Chief Cooper initiated a meeting in his private office, where only he and Patricia were present. Cooper sat behind his desk, his hands clasped. He began, Patricia, I commend your diligence, your equitable approach, and your promising trajectory. But this Blake matter will lead to complications. Patricia inquired, what kind of complications? Cooper elaborated, between our departments, mutual trust is paramount. Prosecuting one of our officers over a split-second decision jeopardizes that relationship. Patricia calmly placed a folder on the desk. This isn't a simple misunderstanding. It's on video. Cooper leaned forward. Williams has a criminal record. Possession 2 years prior. Unpaid fines. A jury will perceive a police officer performing his duty with a suspect who has a history. He continued, Williams was either complying or about to flee. Blake perceived a threat. That's consistent with his training, his judgment. You weren't present. Patricia offered no rejoinder, her gaze fixed on the folder. Cooper's tone softened. I urge you to reconsider, not because Blake is undeserving of scrutiny, but because this case is unwinnable. It will only strain our professional rapport and impact the community. Patricia departed without uttering a word, remaining at her desk for 3 hours. She contemplated her professional ascent, the political landscape of an ADA, the distinction between achievable victories and inevitable defeats, and the notion of making a stand. 3 days later, she closed the case. The official statement cited insufficient evidence to overcome reasonable doubt regarding the officer's perception of threat. Legal jargon, sanitized and inaccurate. Williams never received justice. Blake resumed his duties. Patricia rationalized her decision as a strategic one, preserving her influence for more viable cases. 6 months later, she accepted a judgeship, a career advancement, she informed everyone. Yet she knew she was evading. For 3 years, the burden remained with her. That dash cam footage, that sealed file, the unsettling awareness that Blake was still on active duty. Upon receiving Caroline's call, Patricia commenced her investigation. IA case file 2019-0234, Rachel Moore, 32. Traffic stop. Blake reportedly threw her to the ground, kneeling on her back for 4 minutes. A complaint was lodged. The Internal Affairs investigation concluded, actions consistent with guidelines given perceived noncompliance. No disciplinary action. Case 20-20-891. Daniel Brooks, 28. Domestic disturbance call. Blake applied a chokehold. Brooks lost consciousness, regaining it only after ambulance arrival. A complaint was filed. IIA. Force justified given aggressive posture. No disciplinary action. Case 2021-04556. Anthony Williams, Patricia's case, never reached IIA due to Patricia's intervention. Case 2022-12-3, Helen Stewart, 62. Welfare check. Blake allegedly forced entry, pushed her against a wall, and handcuffed her in her own living room. She was confused and frightened. A complaint was lodged. EIM. Officer acted reasonably given ambiguous circumstances. No disciplinary action. Case 2023-06-5. Robert Anderson, 25. Noise complaint. Blake arrested Anderson for obstruction, fracturing his wrist during the arrest. A complaint was filed. IIA. Subject resisted. Force necessary. No disciplinary action. Case 2023-1445. Sandra Mitchell, 41. Public intoxication. Blake reportedly slammed her head into the patrol car hood, resulting in a concussion and stitches. A complaint was filed. RIIA. Subject, combative, Appropriate response. No disciplinary action, 6 complaints, 6 investigations, 6 instances where the system found no fault, no pattern. Each victim was either a woman, a person of color, or someone considered expendable. Every investigation adhered to the same protocol. Every conclusion absolved Blake. Sarah Collins uncovered these details through public records. 48 hours, $300 in fees. She compiled the information into a 32-page document and sent it to Jake Reynolds at the Riverside Tribune. Jake Reynolds is a meticulous reporter, the kind who scrutinizes footnotes. 36 years old with 8 years covering local crime, he possesses an acute ability to unearth underlying narratives. He reviewed Sarah's document, then delved deeper into financial records. The city budget 2021, legal department expenses, a line item, legal settlements $65,000. No specifics, just a figure. Jake submitted a public records request for all settlements over the past 5 years. The city's response? Exempt under attorney-client privilege. Jake appealed, asserting that public funds spent constitute public interest, even if terms are confidential. The city attorney reluctantly provided a redacted summary 3 weeks later. A spreadsheet revealed 11 settlements. Dates were redacted. Names were redacted. Amounts, however, were visible. $15,000, $22,000, $38,000, $45,000, $65,000, $52,000, $28,000, $33,000, $42,000, $58,000, $26,000, a total of $380,000 over 5 years. Jake cross-referenced these with the IIA files. Dates not entirely redacted corresponded. Settlements aligned with complaints. The city wasn't disciplining officers. They were compensating victims to secure their silence. On July 20th, Jake published an article under the headline, Riverside PD paid $380K in secret settlements, while officers faced no discipline. The article identified Blake and detailed the 6 complaints, showcasing the settlement pattern. Out of respect for privacy, victim names were omitted, but the system itself was exposed. By noon, it had garnered 53,000 views. By evening, 112,000. By Monday morning, it had gone viral, attracting national media attention. Buried in paragraph 18 was an email leaked from within the department, dated July 20th, 0915, 2 days after Isabel's near drowning. From Deputy Chief Thomas Wright to IIA Supervisor Lieutenant Gregory Walsh. Subject, Blake incident, settlement discussion. The body read, let's minimize exposure, standard protocol, have legal reach out once they retain counsel, settle for $30,000 to $45,000 if we move quickly before media picks up, keep contained. Standard protocol, minimize exposure, settle quietly. The system's inherent reflex was laid bare. If you have ever pondered why justice operates ponderously, why officers take months or years to confront consequences, this narrative serves as an exception. But observe what transpires when the system endeavors to reinstate normalcy. Stay with me. Monday, July 19th. Douglas Hamilton filed a motion to dismiss, a 31-page document replete with legal citations and constitutional arguments. The core assertion, warrants were issued too swiftly, denying due process. Page 12 stated, justice demands deliberation. Blake was not granted the opportunity to elucidate context, to exhibit what a brief video might not reveal, to defend himself before an impartial magistrate. A rush to judgment remains a rush irrespective of evidence. Due process necessitates more than celerity, it demands equity. Page 18 highlighted a conflict of interest. Judge Lawson's daughter is the primary eyewitness and direct intervener. This engenders an insurmountable conflict. No judge should preside over a case where an immediate family member is a material party. Fundamental judicial ethics mandate recusal and warrant vacation pending neutral review. Page 24 attacked the evidence. The video was not subjected to proper chain of custody or authentication prior to its court presentation. The defense has not examined the footage for editing, manipulation, or selective display. Accepting such evidence without rigorous authentication is premature and prejudicial. This constituted the standard playbook. Attack the process, attack the judge, attack the evidence, sow doubt. Sarah filed her response that same afternoon, a 6-page direct counter-argument. The video is 42 seconds long, 6 cameras, time-stamped. It shows the officer handcuffing a woman for a noise complaint, escorting her to the pool's edge, and pushing her into 6 feet of water while she was handcuffed. No context renders this lawful. No explanation justifies attempted murder. Hamilton argues a rush to judgment. It is not. It is the swiftness necessitated by undeniable criminality. Regarding perceived conflict, judges do not recuse themselves because family members witness crimes. They recuse when personal interest compromises impartiality. A judge's interest is justice, not a predetermined outcome. Her daughter's presence rendered this case appropriately urgent, not improper. Video authentication, 6 distinct security cameras, independent apartment management corroborated by multiple civilians, including an 8-year prosecutor. Hamilton's speculation about editing is groundless. Sarah submitted the response to the court and copied Jake, who published excerpts. Yet while lawyers debated, the pressure on Isabel intensified. Wednesday, July 21st, a letter arrived at Isabel's apartment from the State Board of Nursing Professional Conduct Division. An anonymous complaint has been filed alleging you engaged in conduct unbecoming a licensed professional on July 18, 2024. The complaint alleges intoxication and disruptive behavior at a public facility. The board has initiated an investigation. Respond in writing within 10 business days. Pending outcome, your license status is under review. No evidence, no witness names, merely an accusation and a threat. Sarah read it in Isabel's living room, then placed it down. This is retaliation. Isabel asked, "Can they do this?" Sarah replied, "They can open an investigation based on any complaint, even anonymous, even baseless. The investigation itself is the weapon. The process is the punishment. It jeopardizes your career. It makes you the one under investigation instead of Blake." Isabel questioned, "What do I do?" "Respond," Sarah instructed. "We'll draft it together. Attach ER records showing no alcohol. Attach witness statements. Make this disappear quickly." "But Isabel," Sarah paused, "they will persist. Attack your credibility, your character. Make you the problem instead of the officer who attempted to kill you." Isabel's hands trembled, still clutching the letter. "I simply want this to be over." "I understand," Sarah acknowledged, "but it isn't. It will worsen before it improves." That night at 23:32, Isabel's phone rang. An unknown number, she answered. A man's voice, calm and measured, spoke. "Miss Preston, consider your actions carefully. Legal proceedings, media attention. Think about your daughter, her stability. Courts do not favor parents involved in prolonged, acrimonious battles. Child Services pays attention. You could lose more than you imagine." The line went dead. Isabel sat at her kitchen table for 2 hours. Emma was asleep. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and distant traffic. She reflected on the nursing board letter, the anonymous threat concerning Emma, the legal motions attempting to invalidate the warrants, the oppressive weight of battling a system designed to exhaust her into capitulation. She considered calling Sarah in the morning and declaring, "I'm finished, make it stop." But she did not call. Not yet. Thursday morning, Judge Lawson issued his ruling. 1 page, 53 words. Motion to dismiss is denied. Evidence supporting warrants is substantial, clear, and uncontested. Speed of issuance reflects clarity and severity, not procedural deficiency. Warrants remain in full force. Officers Blake and Morris ordered to surrender immediately to Riverside County Sheriff. Hamilton read the ruling, picked up his phone, called Blake, no answer, called Morris. Voicemail. Blake and Morris had been missing since Sunday. 96 hours. Warrants active. The department claimed they were searching. Sarah had a different theory. They're not looking. They're hiding them. Jake's verification. Not yet, but ponder. 2 officers, active arrest mandates. 4 days gone. No sightings, no credit card activity, no cellular pings. They are either criminal masterminds or someone with significant resources is assisting, be it the department or the union. Effectively, the same entity, safeguarding their own. From July 20th through the 23rd, Blake and Morris remain unlocated. Their warrants 48 hours old, then 72, 96, 120 hours. The department issues formal statements asserting full cooperation with location efforts and instructing officers to surrender, anticipating voluntary compliance. Yet no one observes them. Blake's residence is vacant, mail accumulating, lawn unkempt. Morris's apartment, a similar scene. No vehicle, no illumination. Sarah drives past both, capturing photographs and documenting. This indicates either a panicked escape or an organized disappearance facilitated by someone. Jake contacts the union, reaching Hamilton. "Where are your clients?" he asks, exercising their constitutional right to challenge irregularities before yielding to questionable warrants. "Where, physically? I am not at liberty to disclose." "Are you in contact?" "I maintain appropriate communication for their defense." "So you are aware of their whereabouts?" Hamilton declines to answer. "This conversation is over," he states, and the line goes dead. Sarah and Jake convene at a coffee shop on Thursday afternoon, occupying a corner booth. He knows. "Hamilton is facilitating," Sarah remarks, confirming. "Not yet. The patterns are evident. 2 officers. Active warrants, 5 days missing, no trace. Someone with resources and knowledge is keeping them concealed. The department, the union, or both. What do we do? Generate public awareness. Make their concealment so conspicuous that remaining hidden becomes a greater risk than surfacing." That afternoon, the Southern Justice Coalition announces its representation of Isabel's case. Elena Carter, the lead investigator, conducts a press conference outside the courthouse. Blake has 6 documented complaints over 5 years. Morris stood by. The department disbursed $380,000 in settlements rather than implementing disciplinary action. Now, when warrants are finally issued based on unequivocal video evidence and prosecutor testimony, the officers vanish. The department claims to be searching, but cannot locate them. Carter pauses, addressing the cameras. "This is not law enforcement. This is protection. The department and the union are deciding that officers are above the law. Isabel Preston nearly drowned because Blake handcuffed her and threw her into 6 feet of water. That is attempted murder. Blake remains at large 5 days later. This tells you everything about who this system truly serves." By evening, 500 individuals gather outside police headquarters. Their signs are peaceful. "Where is Blake?" "Justice took 96 minutes. Arrest is taking how long?" "No cop above the law." The demonstration is quiet, orderly, sustained. People remain. The media covers it. Pressure mounts. Inside her apartment, Isabel watches the news. Emma is beside her. Emma has been subdued since Saturday, having not inquired about swimming or posed many questions, simply remaining close. "Mommy, did they catch the police yet?" Isabel is unsure how to respond. She wraps an arm around Emma. "They're trying, baby." "Why so long? You said people who do bad things get in trouble." "They should. Then why aren't they?" Isabel lacks an answer. The truth is too complex for an 8-year-old. The truth is that sometimes individuals with power shield one another. Sometimes the system determines that certain individuals are exempt from the rules. Emma leans against her mother. "I'm scared." "Of what?" "They'll come back. The police hurt you again." Isabel holds her tighter, remaining silent because she does not wish to lie. She is also afraid. Afraid Blake will remain hidden. Afraid the warrants will be dismissed. Afraid that 96 minutes of justice will vanish because powerful individuals decide it should. That night at 3:18 a.m., her phone vibrates. An email notification. Sender, anonymous. Subject, "You need to see this." Isabel sits up, opening the email. No text, only an attachment. A video file downloads. She presses play, body camera footage, chest height angle, timestamp, July 18th, 1438. It shows Blake approaching, a conversation, handcuffs. Blake leans in close. The audio is crystal clear. Blake's voice. "Black women like you need to learn your place. You think you're smart. Let me teach you a lesson." 4 seconds later, Isabel enters the water. The video continues. Morris's body camera. Morris standing 6 feet away, motionless. The camera captures everything. Isabel underwater, Caroline diving, the ensuing chaos. At the bottom of the email, a single line. Blake said, "Cameras malfunctioned. Morris forgot to turn us off. They lied." Isabel's hands tremble. She forwards it to Sarah. Subject: they lied about the body cameras. She sends it and sits in the dark, heart pounding, staring at her phone. 5 days Blake has been hiding. 5 days the system has been protecting. Now this proof they lied. Proof of Blake's exact words. Proof of premeditated malice. Isabel does not sleep the remainder of the night. Sarah receives the email at 3:23 a.m. She is awake. She opens the attachment, watches the body camera footage. Rewinds, watches again. Blake's voice. Black women like you need to learn your place. Not an accident, not in the heat of the moment. Premeditated racial violence. Forwards to Jake. Subject: Blake turned his camera off. Morris forgot. We have audio proving premeditation. Jake publishes at 6:02 a.m. Headline: Body camera reveals Blake's words before pool assault. Department claim malfunction. The article includes the transcript, timestamp, and the fact that the department informed the DA's office that both cameras experienced technical failures. Sarah's statement: the cameras did not malfunction. They were deliberately turned off except one officer forgot. Now we have proof. By 8:00 a.m., 382,000 views. By 9:00 a.m., Riverside Medical releases Isabel's full medical report. Dr. Alan Foster's report, RMC 24888 or 934, diagnoses near drowning with water aspiration, a dislocated right shoulder, bilateral wrist contusions consistent with metal handcuff pressure, and acute psychological trauma. Recommended follow-up orthopedic and mental health within 72 hours. Foster's notes: patient presented with acute respiratory distress following submersion. Reports being handcuffed, hands behind back, and forcibly submerged 6 feet by law enforcement. Examination entirely consistent with account. Submersion 42 seconds per witnesses. Patient extremely fortunate to survive. Submersion while handcuffed presents extreme drowning risk with high fatal probability. Could very easily have resulted in death. Sarah releases the full report. Jake publishes the medical language. Clinical, precise, damning. By noon Friday, July 23rd, the evidence accumulates. 6 camera angles depicting the assault. Caroline's sworn prosecutor testimony. Body camera audio proving Blake's racial premeditation. Medical documentation of near death. 6 prior complaints demonstrating a pattern. $380,000 in settlements revealing a cover-up. An email indicating intent to minimize exposure. Blake and Morris remain missing. The protest escalates, 800 individuals growing to 1,000. National organizations arrive. Atlanta media. The pressure is immense. Inside headquarters, Chief Cooper holds an emergency meeting with his command staff. The topic is unspoken but understood. Where are Blake and Morris? Why haven't we found them? The answer, unspoken. Because we haven't genuinely looked. Finding them means arresting them. Arresting them means admitting guilt. That evening, a package arrives at Jake's office. No return address. A manila envelope, hand-delivered. Inside, a printed email dated July 19th, Sunday morning, from Sergeant William Harris to Union Representative Thomas Mitchell. Subject: B and M secured. Body: they're at the training facility, Brookside 3rd floor. Keeping low until legal resolves. Don't document this location officially. Jake reads it 3 times. He calls Sarah. I know where. Where? 1852, Brookside Union Training Center. Sarah is silent for 5 seconds. They're not hiding. They're being hidden. What do we do? Don't call Riverside PD. Call someone who doesn't answer to Cooper. Sarah retrieves a contact, saved for 3 years, FBI Civil Rights. Special Agent Maria Santos. It rings twice. Santos. Agent Santos, Sarah Collins. Civil rights case, 2 officers. Active state warrants being harbored by a department. Documentary evidence of location. Requires federal intervention. Title 18, Section 242. Send everything. Sarah does. Every document, video, email, the entire stack. 1,800 hours. Santos initiates a federal investigation. 18 U.S.C. 242. Deprivation of rights under color of law. Federal charges. Federal jurisdiction. Not just local anymore. Federal now. Federal agents do not wait for local police to police themselves. Officer Jonathan Hayes, 8 years. Riverside Heights PD, 33, married, 2 children, 6 and 4, 24 months from pension, worked patrol traffic, community liaison, never fired a weapon on duty, never had a complaint, clean record, a good cop by measurable standards. Friday afternoon, July 24th, Hayes is in his patrol car on a routine shift. Radio chatter, dispatch calls, units responding, normal machinery. But Hayes cannot stop thinking about the video. It is everywhere now. Isabel in handcuffs. Blake pushing, Morris watching. Hayes knows both. He worked shifts with Blake, ate lunch with Morris. He also heard the locker room talk. Jokes about teaching civilians respect. Music too loud, non-emergency. 2 officers are nearby and will handle the situation. 6 minutes later, a patrol car arrives. Officer Ryan Blake, 38 years old, with 12 years on the force. 6 complaints are in his file, all resolved internally. No disciplinary action was ever issued. Officer Dale Morris, 41 years old, with 14 years on the force. Quiet. He allows Blake to take the lead. 0 complaints because he's never the instigator. He merely observes. Blake approaches the pool. His boots strike the concrete with a rhythmic sound that causes people to look up. The music is still playing. A song about snowmen. Isabel sees him, immediately reaches for her phone, and pauses the music. Silence except for the children in the water. Blake opens the gate, walks onto the deck, and looks at Isabel. Someone complained. Isabel nods quickly. I'm sorry, officer. I turned it off. Blake stands there, ignoring her apology, simply looking at her, then at Emma, then back at Isabel. I need to see your ID. Isabel blinks. For a noise complaint. ID now. Isabel slowly reaches for her bag, careful, deliberate. She is a black woman in America. She understands how these situations can escalate. She hands over her driver's license and hospital badge. Blake examines them, taking his time. Morris stands behind him, arms crossed. Do you live here? Yes, sir. Unit 4C. I'm a nurse at Riverside Children's Hospital. Blake returns the IDs but does not depart. He looks at the pool, at the observing families, at Carolyn Lawson, who has pushed up her sunglasses. Keep the noise down. Of course, I apologize. Blake turns toward the gate, stops, and looks back at Isabel. Something in his expression shifts. Cold. Stand up. Isabel's breath catches. I'm sorry. Stand up. Caroline Lawson sits up straighter. This isn't normal. This isn't how noise complaints typically conclude. Isabel stands. Water drips from her feet. Officer, is there a problem? I apologized. Blake steps closer. Are you giving me attitude? No, sir. I'm asking what you need me to do. Turn around, hands behind your back. The pool falls silent. Children stop splashing. Complaints about soft policies. The brotherhood mentality. Us versus them. Protect your own. Never break ranks. The thin blue line means don't talk, ever. Hayes followed that code for 8 years until today. 14 hours. Hayes drives to the Union Training Facility, Brookside, a nondescript 3-story building. Conference rooms on the first floor, gym on the second, offices on the third. Officers go there for training, union meetings, off-duty gatherings. Hayes parks in the back lot. He walks inside, knowing the layout. He has been there dozens of times for mandatory training. He takes the stairs, 3rd floor, down the hallway, past empty offices. At the end of the hall, a break room with couches and a kitchen. Blake and Morris are there. Civilian clothes. Morris is reading a magazine. Blake is on the phone. Blake looks up. Hayes, what are you doing here? Hayes does not answer immediately. He looks at Blake. Morris. The whole city is looking for you. Blake shrugs. Let them. Not surrendering to illegal warrants. The warrants aren't illegal. The video's clear. You weren't there. You don't know what happened. I saw the video. Everyone saw it. 6 cameras. Your body cam audio. Everyone heard what you said. Blake stands, his expression hardening. Whose side are you on? Hayes holds his ground. The right side. The right side. We're your brothers. Same badge. Supposed to have our backs. Not when you try to drown someone. The room grows cold. Morris sets down his magazine. Blake's jaw clenches. "Get out," Blake says quietly. Hayes pivots, exits, enters the patrol vehicle, drives 3 blocks, pulls into a desolate lot, kills the engine, keeps hands on the wheel, contemplates his career, retirement, and kin. He reflects on the fate of officers who betray the code. Ostracism, retaliation, the dissolution of camaraderie, becoming targets. His thoughts then drift to Emma Preston, 8 years old, his daughter's age, witnessing her mother succumb to the water. Hayes retrieves his phone, accesses his email, and meticulously types, his fingers trembling, to Jake. Reynolds at Riverside, calm with the subject, location information. The body states officers Blake and Morris are at 1852 Brookside Avenue, 3rd floor. Police Union Training Facility. They've been there since July 19th. The department is aware. No one is actively searching because finding them necessitates arresting them, which means admitting culpability. I am an officer. Sending this anonymously, but I am an officer. One who still believes we are meant to safeguard people, not shield each other from repercussions. He reads it twice. His thumb hovers over the send button. He thinks about his children, the job he took to serve the community, and the kind of officer he aspires to be. He presses send, then deletes the sent message, drives home, walks inside, embraces his wife, reads bedtime stories, retires for the night. 22:18. Jake receives the email, reads it carefully, notices the internal PD email address. The sender risked everything by using a work account. He calls Sarah, confirms the location from within the department, verifies the source. The email domain is confirmed, Riverside PD. The sender is an officer jeopardizing their career. Sarah immediately contacts Santos. The location is confirmed. Union Training, 1852 Brookside, 3rd floor. 6 days. The department was protecting them while claiming to search. Santos does not hesitate. "We will handle it from here. Move at 06 or tomorrow. Not coordinating with Riverside PD. No. Federal civil rights now. We don't need local cooperation. We don't want it." 06, Saturday, July 26th. 8 days after Isabel entered the water. The FBI prepares to execute federal warrants at the Union facility. They are not seeking Cooper's assistance, not coordinating with Riverside PD. Executing federal warrants, federal authority, federal civil rights violations. The local authorities had 8 days. Now it is the FBI's turn. Saturday, July 26th, 06:30. The sun has not yet risen. Brookside is quiet in the pre-dawn darkness. 4 black Suburbans pull up to 1852 Brookside. No sirens, no lights, just the rumble of engines and synchronized opening of doors. Special Agent Maria Santos steps out first, followed by 15 FBI agents. They are in tactical gear, body armor, clearly marked FBI, federal arrest warrants. Authorization 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, federal charges, federal jurisdiction, maximum penalty, life imprisonment. Santos approaches the entrance, does not knock politely, announces authority, FBI, federal arrest warrants. Ryan Blake, Dale Morris. Open immediately. Silence from within. Santos nods. The team does not need to breach the door. The union president provided the key 28 minutes ago after a direct conversation about obstruction of justice charges and harboring fugitives with federal warrants. The door opens. Agents enter the practice facility. A standard federal raid. Room by room, clear, secure. No assumptions, no shortcuts. The first floor is cleared in 90 seconds, empty. Conference rooms, offices, no one. The second floor, training facilities, gym equipment, empty. Third floor, break room, end of the hall. Blake is asleep on the couch. Morris is in a chair, a coffee cup, half awake, on his phone. FBI, hands where we can see them now. Blake sits up quickly, sees the FBI vests, tactical gear. His face pales. The color completely drains. Ryan Blake, Dale Morris, you are under arrest. Federal charges. You have the right to remain silent. Blake does not speak. Morris carefully sets down his coffee. Neither resists. What would be the point? Surrounded by federal agents who are not their brothers, who do not care. The thin blue line is here to do one job. Handcuffs. The same standard issue metal Blake used on Isabel 8 days ago. Round Blake's wrists. 2 decisive clicks, then Morris's. Do you understand your rights as explained? Santos asks. Blake nods, his voice quiet. Yes. Officer Morris. Yes. They are escorted out at 06:46, 8 days after Isabel almost drowned, 8 days after the 96-minute warrants were issued. 8 days Blake and Morris spent hiding while the department looked away. The union provided shelter, not hiding anymore. Outside, media cameras are already positioned. News vans from every local station, 3 national networks, someone tipped them off. Maybe the FBI, maybe Jake, maybe Officer Hayes watching from a distance, ensuring the moment is documented history. Blake and Morris are placed in separate federal vehicles. Not a local jail where friends work. Federal custody, federal facility. No special treatment, no looking away. Noon, Santos holds a press conference at the federal courthouse. Cameras are everywhere. National attention. This morning, the FBI arrested officers Blake and Morris on federal civil rights charges. Title 18, U.S.C. 242. Deprivation of rights under color of authority. Serious federal felonies. Maximum penalty, life imprisonment. She pauses. Lets it sink in. Life imprisonment. Blake handcuffed a civilian woman with a noise complaint and pushed her 6 feet into the water. She nearly died. Morris stood by and watched without intervening. Both evaded arrest. For 8 days they were harbored by members of their own department, not policing criminal conduct. When local systems fail or refuse to hold officers accountable, federal law enforcement provides a remedy. What happened today? A reporter asks, why did the FBI enforce warrants issued 8 days ago by a state judge? Santos looks at the camera, her expression neutral but her words sharp. An excellent question reporters should ask the Riverside Heights Police Department. Why couldn't they locate 2 of their own officers in 8 days when we found them in 6 hours? No further questions. Isabel watches the press conference on a laptop in her apartment. Emma sits beside the couch, watching Blake escorted out in handcuffs, watching Santos speak. Federal charges, life imprisonment. Emma looks up. Did they catch the police officers? Isabel wraps an arm around her, her voice steady. For the first time in 8 days, yes, baby, they did. Are they going to jail? Yes. Forever. Isabel does not know the answer. The trial is months away. Verdicts are unpredictable. But in this moment, she can give her daughter this. They are not hiding anymore. They have to face what they did. Emma nods, leans against her mother. They sit together watching justice move slowly, fitfully, but finally moving. Outside, the protest at the police department has swelled to 2,000. They are not angry now. They are celebrating. Signs are raised. Chants echo. No cop above the law. 96 minutes to justice. Federal accountability where local fails. Sarah stands at the edge of the crowd, not celebrating, but watching, making sure it sticks, making sure they don't find a way to make it disappear before trial. Jake is there too, notebook out, recording everything. The story is not over. The arrest is just a chapter. The trial looms. The verdict matters. But this chapter, the arrest, the FBI stepping in, accountability finally coming, this matters. Justice took 96 minutes to issue warrants, 8 days to enforce them. That is the distance between a system that works and one that protects its own. Blake and Morris await federal trial. Chief Cooper is under FBI investigation for obstruction. Deputy Chief Wright faces administrative review. The police union is under federal scrutiny. Settlement files are being audited. Policy changes are already moving. Body cameras that cannot be manually disabled. Third-party civilian review boards for all use of force complaints. Automatic suspension for officers with active warrants. Reforms will not fix everything, but they are a beginning. Isabel returns to work at Riverside Children's Hospital. Emma returns to school. The Willows pool reopens. Life continues forward. When reporters ask for a statement, Isabel says, "I am grateful justice moved fast when it did. I just wish it did not have to fight so hard to stay fast." Justice arrived after 96 minutes, but solely due to someone's steadfast refusal to permit its absence. Emma looks up from the water. "Officer, I don't understand. What did I do wrong?" Blake pulls handcuffs from his belt. Metal glints in the sunlight. "You're being detained for obstruction." "Obstruction of what?" "I cooperated. I showed you my ID." Blake grabs her arm and spins her around. The handcuffs close with 2 clicks behind her back. Tight. Too tight. Metal bites into her wrists. Emma begins to cry. Isabel attempts to turn her head. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's okay." But Emma is climbing out of the water sobbing. "Mommy!" Morris shifts his weight, looking uncomfortable. He says nothing. Does nothing. Caroline is now on her feet, phone in hand. "Officer, what's the charge?" Blake doesn't turn. "This doesn't concern you." "I'm Assistant District Attorney Caroline Lawson. I'm asking for the specific charge." Blake disregards her. He holds Isabel by the arm, fingers pressing into her bicep. He begins walking her across the deck, not toward the gate, but toward the deep end. Caroline's voice cuts sharply. "Officer, I'm ADA Caroline Lawson. State the charges." Blake stops, turning his head slightly. "She's detained. That's all you need to know." Isabel's heart pounds. She's handcuffed. Her daughter is crying, and Blake is leading her towards 6 feet of water. She attempts to brace herself, but Blake is stronger. They reach the edge. Isabel sees the blue water below, the black line indicating 6 feet. She realizes what is about to occur. Adrenaline surges through her system. "Officer, my hands are cuffed. I can't swim. Please." Blake leans close to her ear. His voice is quiet, intended only for her, but Caroline is close enough to hear. So is Dorothy Wilson, 68, sitting under her umbrella. "Black women like you need to learn your place." Then louder, "You think you're smart. Let me teach you a lesson." He pushes. Isabel impacts the water at 14:38 and 35 seconds. She immediately submerges. 6 feet, hands secured behind her back in steel. No means to paddle. No way to surface. She sinks. The water is cold. Chlorine burns her nose, her throat, her lungs. She tries to kick. The weight of her body, the angle of her arms pulls her down. Panic is instantaneous and overwhelming. She cannot breathe. She cannot swim. She is drowning. Above water, chaos erupts. Emma screaming, Dorothy Wilson shouting. Other parents rush to the edge. Morris stands frozen. Blake turns, walks away, back toward the gate like nothing happened, like a woman isn't drowning behind him. Caroline doesn't freeze. She drops her phone, kicks off her sandals and dives. She is a strong swimmer, reaches Isabel in 4 strokes, grabs her under the arms, kicks hard, breaks the surface. Isabel gasps, chokes, coughs violently. Caroline keeps her head above water, kicking toward the shallow end where hands reach to assist. They pull Isabel onto the deck. She is on her knees, hands still cuffed behind her back, vomiting chlorinated water onto the concrete. She is trembling. Emma is beside her, sobbing, attempting to embrace her mother. Caroline reaches for her waterproof pouch, retrieves her phone, and dials 911. Her voice is steady, prosecutor steady. "This is Assistant District Attorney Caroline Lawson, badge number 8436. I need paramedics at the Willows, 1620 Riverside Drive. A woman in handcuffs was thrown into a 6-foot pool by police. She nearly drowned. I am an eyewitness. I pulled her out. I will testify." She hangs up, dials a second number. Her mother answers immediately. "Mom, you need to hear this. Officer Ryan Blake just threw a handcuffed woman into a pool. I watched the entire thing. I jumped in and saved her." "Mom." Caroline's voice remains controlled, but there's an underlying steel. "It's happening again." Patricia Lawson's voice comes through sharply. "Blake." "Yes, the same one. 6 cameras captured everything. 42 seconds of footage. Timestamp 14:38:22 to 14:38:53. Camera 3 from pool deck. Camera 5 from parking lot. Camera 8 from clubhouse. Every angle shows the same thing. A woman in handcuffs, an officer pushing her into water, another officer standing by, a prosecutor diving in. By the time paramedics arrive at 14:46, Blake and Morris are gone. The patrol car pulls out. No lights, no siren, just gone. Emma sits wrapped in a towel, crying. Isabel sits on the deck, still cuffed, still trembling, coughing up water. Caroline sits beside her, hand on her shoulder, phone in her other hand. I'm a prosecutor, Caroline says quietly. I know what just happened, and I know who can fix it. She's already dialing again. This time it's District Attorney Glenn Patterson. Glenn, this is Caroline Lawson. I just watched Officer Ryan Blake handcuff a woman for a noise complaint and throw her into 6 feet of water. I dove in and saved her. She nearly died. I'm calling my mother now. We need an emergency hearing today, right now. She hangs up, looks at Isabel. What's your name? Isabel Preston. Isabel, I'm Caroline. I'm a prosecutor. I need you to listen to me very carefully. What just happened to you is a crime. Assault, attempted murder, and we're not going to let him walk away from it. Do you understand? Isabel nods. She's still coughing, still trembling, but she nods. Good, don't leave. Don't go home. Stay right here. My mother is Judge Patricia Lawson. She's going to want to talk to you. We're going to fix this today. Dorothy Wilson approaches with another towel. I saw everything. I'll testify. A man in his 40s steps forward. James Anderson, Unit 3F. I saw it too. I recorded some of it on my phone. A woman in her 30s. Lisa Bennett, 4A. I have video. Caroline looks around. 6 cameras, numerous witnesses, mobile phone footage, and a prosecutor who was present in the water. This matter is not going to disappear. Blake has just committed the most significant error of his professional life. He attempted to drown an individual in front of a prosecutor. Judge Patricia Lawson is in her chambers at 1448 when Caroline places a call. This is 10 minutes after Isabel entered the water. Patricia is reviewing Monday's court schedule when her phone rings. Caroline. Mom. Caroline's voice is strained, reflecting a controlled rage. Officer Ryan Blake just threw a handcuffed woman into a pool. I witnessed it. I pulled her out. She nearly died. Patricia freezes. The case file blurs before her. Blake. Yes, Ryan Blake. The very same. 3 years prior, Patricia, then an assistant district attorney, had a case against Blake involving excessive force. The victim was 19-year-old Anthony Williams during a traffic stop. Dash cam footage showed Williams complying, yet Blake struck him 3 times with a baton, resulting in broken ribs and a concussion. Patricia prepared charges. Then Chief Raymond Cooper made a call. The conversation was brief, professional, and firm. This case creates tension between the department and the DA's office. Let's move forward together. Patricia closed the case, citing insufficient evidence in the file. She internally justified it as a strategic choice. 6 months later, she became a judge. She publicly stated it was career advancement, but secretly knew she was avoiding what she failed to do. For 3 years, she carried this burden, the memory of that dash cam, the knowledge that Blake was still on duty. Now her daughter is informing her it has happened again. Where are you? The Willows. Paramedics have just arrived. The woman's name is Isabel Preston. She's a nurse. She has an 8-year-old daughter who saw everything. Patricia grabs her keys. Is Preston okay? Physically, perhaps. Coughing up water. Traumatized. But Mom, Blake handcuffed her for a noise complaint, then escorted her to the pool and threw her in. He tried to kill her. Patricia's hand clenches. Stay there. Do not let Preston leave. I'm calling Glenn Patterson now. Mom, we are not waiting this time. Not again. Patricia ends the call. She dials DA Patterson, who answers immediately. Patricia, Glenn, I need an emergency hearing today. Now. Blake just committed assault and attempted murder. We have a prosecutor as an eyewitness. We have video. I am not letting this go. A pause. How quickly can you get here? 15 minutes. I'll meet you. At 15 hours, Patricia arrives at the courthouse. Patterson waits in the hallway, dressed in jeans and a polo, weekend casual, but his expression is serious. Caroline arrives at 15:12 with Isabel. Isabel is wrapped in a towel, her hair wet, her wrists red and swollen from handcuffs. She is trembling. Emma holds her mother's hand, her eyes red. They proceed to Patricia's chambers for a closed session, an emergency petition, the type of hearing that occurs when evidence is so unequivocal that delay would be unconscionable. Caroline testifies first under oath, detailing every event. Blake's approach, Isabel's cooperation, the handcuffs, the walk to the pool, the shove, the 42 seconds underwater before Caroline intervened. "Did you observe Blake's expression when he pushed Miss Preston?" Patterson inquires. "Yes, he was calm, deliberate. He led her to the edge and pushed her in. Then he walked away. And Morris, standing 6 feet away, watched. He did nothing." Next, the video. Caroline had already obtained it from apartment management. 6 cameras, 6 angles, clearly time-stamped. Camera 3 depicts everything. Blake approaching, Isabel presenting identification, Blake applying handcuffs, the walk to the edge, the push, Isabel entering the water, Caroline diving in. Patterson pauses the frame. "Judge Lawson, Morris is visible here. Clear line of sight. He does nothing." Patricia scrutinizes the image. Morris, hands at his sides, observing a handcuffed woman drown. Accomplice liability. Failure to intervene. Patterson nods. "I am requesting warrants for both. Blake for assault under color of authority, false imprisonment, attempted murder. Morris for being an accomplice and failure to intervene." Patricia looks at Isabel. "Miss Preston, do you comprehend what is transpiring?" Isabel nods, her voice faint. "I just want to go home to my daughter." "You will, but first, do you wish to press charges?" Isabel looks at her wrists, the red swollen marks. She looks at Emma, then at Patricia. "Yes." Patricia turns to her clerk. "Draft 2 arrest warrants. Charges as stated. I will sign them immediately." The clerk blinks. "Right now, Your Honor." Right now. 11 minutes to draft the warrants. Standard language, specific charges. Isabel Preston, complainant. Caroline Lawson, witness, video attached. At 16:14, 96 minutes after Isabel entered the water, Judge Patricia Lawson signs 2 arrest warrants. Warrant RCC 2024 EAW 3-422. Officer Ryan Blake, Officer Dale Morris. Charges: assault under color of authority, false imprisonment, attempted murder. Bail $250,000 each. Patricia places her pen down, looks at Caroline. "This remains confidential until we serve them. Blake does not know yet." Caroline nods. Patricia looks at Isabel. "Miss Preston, I apologize this occurred. I apologize it took my daughter's presence to expedite this, but it is progressing now. These warrants are active. These officers will be arrested." Isabel whispers, "Thank you." At 16:22, the DA's office attempts to contact Blake. No answer. They try Morris. Voicemail. By 18, word reaches the police union. By then, Blake and Morris have turned off their phones. The warrants are active. The 96-minute window has closed. Justice moved faster than it almost ever does. Now comes the more challenging part, ensuring it is upheld. At 18 raw hours, DA Patterson holds a press conference on the courthouse steps, cameras everywhere. This afternoon, Judge Lawson signed arrest warrants for officers Ryan Blake and Dale Morris. Charges include assault under color of authority, false imprisonment, and attempted murder. These warrants were issued following an emergency hearing with video evidence and eyewitness testimony from a prosecutor. Pause. Let it absorb. The incident transpired at 14:38. Warrants signed at 16:14, 96 minutes later. A reporter shouts, 96 minutes, is that not too fast? Patterson looks at the camera. Due process does not equate to delay. It signifies fairness. The officers will defend themselves in court, but first they need to surrender. We expect them by 9 a.m. Monday. He steps back. The press erupts. Patterson does not respond. He walks inside. Within an hour, the police union releases a statement. Douglas Hamilton, the union attorney, reads it on the courthouse lawn. Today's hasty judgment is perilous. Officers Blake and Morris were not afforded an opportunity to present their account before warrants were issued. This transgresses fundamental principles. Justice demands time. Rushing to judgment undermines the system. We are filing a motion to dismiss on grounds of procedural violation. 90 seconds. No questions. Hamilton departs. By 20 hours, the filings commence. Motion to dismiss. Motion to recuse Judge Lawson, citing conflict of interest. Her daughter is the witness. Motion to suppress video. Motion for emergency stay. A textbook defense. Throw everything, create doubt, slow it down. Sarah Collins watches from her office, a civil rights attorney with 15 years of experience and an 89% win rate. She recognizes this strategy. She calls Isabel. Miss Preston, I'm Sarah Collins. I'm an attorney. I saw the conference. I'd like to represent you. A pause. I don't have money. Pro bono, no fee. I take cases like this because they matter. Because I win. A long pause. They're attempting to make the warrants vanish, aren't they? Yes, they'll argue too fast. Conflict of interest. Rushed process. Was it rushed? No. Fast does not mean wrong. It means obvious. When a police officer throws a handcuffed woman into a pool, you don't need months. You need a warrant. That's what transpired. What do I do? Nothing. You spoke the truth. You pressed charges.